Let's cut through the noise for a minute. Every day you're bombarded with advice about what women want. Be more confident, be more vulnerable, be more successful, be more sensitive. The contradictions are enough to drive anyone crazy. But what if I told you there's a reason for all this confusion? Here's the truth nobody's talking about. Attraction isn't universal. That perfect man checklist you see in magazines? Pure fantasy. But after years of conversations with women across different backgrounds, ages, and experiences, I've noticed something fascinating. There are 4 specific traits that consistently create deep, magnetic attraction. Not surface-level interest, not casual attention. I'm talking about the kind of attraction that keeps her thinking about you when you're not around, the kind that has her friends asking, "What is it about him?" And here's the kicker. Only about 1% of men naturally embody all 4. This isn't about looks, money, or status. These are behavioral patterns, mindsets, ways of moving through the world that trigger something primal and powerful in the female psyche, something evolution has wired women to respond to. The good news? These aren't traits you're born with. They're traits you can develop. I've seen it happen. I've done it myself. So let's break down these 4 traits that separate the merely likable from the absolutely magnetic. Trait number 1, relaxed intensity. The first trait is something I call relaxed intensity. It sounds like a contradiction, right? That's because it merges 2 qualities that most men think are mutually exclusive. Relaxed intensity is the ability to be completely at ease in your own skin while simultaneously directing focused attention toward what matters to you. It's being calm but not passive, driven but not anxious. Let me make this concrete. Imagine a man at a social gathering. Most guys fall into one of 2 categories. They're either trying too hard, talking too loud, moving too fast, constantly checking to see if people are watching them, or they're completely checked out, slouched in the corner, scrolling through their phones. But the man with relaxed intensity? He moves deliberately. He speaks more slowly, more thoughtfully. He's not rushing to fill silences or jumping from person to person. There's a gravity to him. When he listens, he actually listens, not just waiting for his turn to speak. When he focuses on someone, they feel like the only person in the room. This quality is magnetic because it signals something crucial to women's self-regulation. It shows you can manage your own emotional state without external validation. You're not desperate for attention, not frantically trying to prove your worth. You're content, but not complacent. I remember talking to this woman about her husband of 20 years. I asked what initially attracted her to him. She thought for a moment and said, "On our first date, the restaurant lost our reservation. While every other man I dated would have either exploded in anger or become visibly flustered, he just smiled, put his hand gently on the small of my back and said, 'Their loss. I know a better place anyway.'" He was completely unfazed. That's relaxed intensity. Trait number 2, authentic conviction. Scene 2, balancing elements. Again, this combines 2 elements that most men struggle to balance. Authentic conviction means having clear values and boundaries that you genuinely believe in, not ones you've adopted to impress others, and being willing to stand by them even when it's uncomfortable. In a world of people-pleasers and performative personalities, a man who knows what he stands for becomes remarkably attractive. Not because women agree with every opinion he holds, but because his internal compass isn't swayed by what's popular or convenient in the moment. Let me be crystal clear. This isn't about being stubborn or domineering. It's about having thought deeply about your values and living in alignment with them. It's about being the same person in every room you enter. I coached this guy once who couldn't figure out why his relationships kept failing. On paper, he was a catch. Good-looking, good job, funny, kind. But when I dug deeper, I discovered his chameleon problem. With his work friends, he was the party guy. With his family, he was conservative and traditional. With women he dated, he would shape-shift into whatever he thought they wanted. He thought he was being adaptable, but women sensed something was off. There was no core to grab onto. No sense of who he really was beneath the performance. Authentic conviction is attractive because it signals reliability and predictability, not in a boring way but in a trustworthy way. Trait number 3, playful competence. The third trait that creates deep attraction is what I call playful competence. This is the sweet spot between skilled capability and light-hearted enjoyment. Playful competence is being genuinely good at something, ideally several things, while maintaining a sense of joy and ease about it. It's mastery without the ego, excellence without the arrogance. Think about it. Have you ever watched someone do something difficult with seemingly effortless skill and enjoyment? Maybe they're playing an instrument, fixing something complex, teaching someone patiently, or even just telling a perfectly timed story that has everyone captivated. That quality is mesmerizing. I had dinner once with a friend and her new boyfriend. Throughout the evening, I noticed something fascinating. Whether he was recommending wine to complement the meal, or engaging with the waiter in their native language, or making her laugh with subtle wordplay, everything he did had this quality of casual excellence. He wasn't showing off, he was simply expressing different facets of his competence while genuinely enjoying himself. Later, I asked her what attracted her to him. "He makes everything look easy," she said, but not in an arrogant way. "He seems delighted by life." This trait is rare because most men approach skill development all wrong. They either become technically proficient but overly serious, treating their abilities as a burden rather than a joy, or they stay playful but never develop true mastery of anything substantial. The magic lies in the combination. Put in the hard work to become legitimately good at things worth doing, but never lose the playful spirit that made you pursue them in the first place. Trait number 4, attuned independence. The final trait that drives women wild is perhaps the most counterintuitive: attuned independence. Like the others, it merges seemingly opposing qualities into something powerful. Scene 3. Defining attuned independence. Attuned independence means being completely capable of standing on your own, emotionally, socially, practically, while simultaneously having the sensitivity to tune into others' emotional states and needs. Scene 4. Not distant or detached. The independent part isn't about being distant or detached. It's about having your own fully developed life, interests, and identity that don't dissolve when you enter a relationship. Scene 5. Emotional intelligence. The attuned part is about having the emotional intelligence to read the room, to sense what others are feeling, to know when to step forward and when to step back. Most men get this catastrophically wrong. They either maintain their independence by being emotionally oblivious, or they become so attuned to a woman's needs that they sacrifice their autonomy entirely, becoming a yes man with no separate identity. I remember a woman describing her attraction to her partner of 5 years. He has his own world that he loves, his friends, his hobbies, his work passions. He doesn't need me to be his everything, but somehow he can walk through the door after a day apart, take one look at me and know exactly what kind of day I've had. He can tell if I need space, conversation, or just silent company. He feels what I feel, but he never loses himself in it. So there they are, the 4 traits that genuinely drive women wild: relaxed intensity, authentic conviction, playful competence, and attuned independence. The rare combinations that signal to a woman's instincts that you're not just another guy. You're exceptional. Now, I said only 1% of men naturally possess all 4, but here's the empowering truth. These traits can be developed. They don't require special genetics or privileged backgrounds. They require self-awareness, intentional practice, and a willingness to integrate seemingly opposing qualities. The journey to embodying these traits isn't about becoming someone you're not. It's about becoming more fully yourself, a developed version of who you already are. So which of these 4 do you already possess? Which needs the most work? The gap between where you are and where you could be, that's your roadmap to becoming the kind of man who doesn't just attract women, but creates deep, lasting attraction. If you found this valuable, hit subscribe for more insights that go beyond the surface, and drop a comment letting me know which trait resonated with you the most. I read every comment and use them to guide future videos. Until next time, focus on growth, not perfection.